Good evening all and welcome to the Wednesday Club version of the Cheese Room podcast. I'm here with my usual Wednesday Clubbers and a very, very special guest from can't talk, can I? The Dr. Tottenham pod, it's Vass. How are you, Vass? Great to have you on.
Hey Shane, yeah, I'm all good, thank you. Nice to join you guys tonight on a Wednesday.
There's no better place to be on a Wednesday, honestly.
So I'm told.
And as ever, Gibbo, I feel like I spend more time chatting Spurs with you than I do anyone else. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine. Cheers, Shan. Glad to be back. Glad to meet Vass. I was saying to him earlier, I've been watching his pod since it was Hotspur America. So it'd be nice to chat. I've been listening to him for a long time. So it'd be nice to chat Spurs, and obviously not great to be here with you and James. So let's get into it.
And he's no longer the man of stats. He appears to be the Scotch enjoyer now. How are you, James? How many have you drank already?
Quite a few, actually. I had to purchase another bottle, but was on offer, so did quite good there. Like £15. Feel like I've done quite well there for a bottle of Johnny Walker's. So I'm feeling tremendous. Thanks for having me on. Love tremendous feedback. Beautiful members of the panel and all of you watching in the comments. Lovely to be back here, and hope you enjoy the show.
And of course, all you guys in the comments, welcome. We've got a few of the regulars in.
There's Kerry saying evening.
All right, Kerry, mate.
Yeah, how's Kerry? Who else we got, James, in the chat?
Well,
panel members.
Got Maffy saying evening. We've got my father talking to various people.
Yeah. That's it at the minute, isn't it?
Only a chat tonight. He's watching on the sofa. So, hi, Dad. How you doing?
So,
Kerry, wait to us. You're right, Kerry.
Whilst we're waiting for Shan, then, shall we? Obviously, just seen before I've come in tonight that Dane Scarlett's off to Portsmouth. So,
Indeed.
What do you think? What do you think about that move, Vass? I think that's a decent move for him, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think Portsmouth might be having themselves a decent year this year, so he'll be right in the thick of it. And championship experience, he'll be invaluable. I think that's a good move for Dane Scarlett. He's still young, as we know, but really he was never going to get the game time at Spurs this season. I mean, prior to that, he was only really getting it in the cup competitions, and because we had the Europa Conference stuff going on, but that was going to pass him by this year, I think. So it's great that he's found himself alone, and I think he's got a good landing spot there.
Yeah, Portsmouth's a decent club, isn't it? And like you said, they've gone up to the Championship, so hopefully he'll get plenty of games there. What do you think about that, James? Because you're going down to uni in Portsmouth, mate. So going to try and nip down there and watch a couple of games?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Hopefully I'll be able to come on and talk about, get some first-hand scouting experience of Dane Scarlett. Good move for him,
Yeah.
As long as I don't say I'm a Spurs fan to anyone at Portsmouth, it should all be good. It's a good move. It's a tougher division, but you know what? It did skip a world of good, didn't it? So I think it's good for him. He's not going to get the game time at Spurs. We're in the Champions League. We know Antonio Conte is going to want to go far in the League Cup and FA Cup. He's not like Mauricio Pochettino, who's going to play youth. He's going to want to win those competitions. He's going to put out a strong starting 11. Right? That's why we signed players like Richarlison, right? To go far in these competitions and try and win one of them and start to install a winning mentality. I think it's a good move for him. Hopefully he can do well there. Hopefully I can come on in, a few months' time and say he's been doing brilliant for Portsmouth, scoring goals. And we'll have something to look forward to in a year or two's time, and he can start playing for Spurs. I think this is a brilliant foundational block for him, to be honest.
Yeah, mate. Sean, I was just saying, while you were having your difficulties, we just started talking about Dane Scarlett's move to Portsmouth. So I'll pass back over to you now to host the rest of the show, but that's where we're at.
Has everyone given their feedback on Dane Scarlett's move to Portsmouth?
Yeah, right. We're all pretty impressed. We think it'll be a decent move for him. Good minutes, good club. So, obviously, over to you now, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Really good move, I think. Plenty of first team football, which is exactly what he needs. Not ready for the first team yet. So, yeah, great decision all around.
Yeah. So, are we going to... Oh, sorry, Shan. I got into host mode then, so I'll just leave it to you now. All right.
Yeah, so this moves us on. Troy Parrott has gone to Preston, another great academy striker that we've got. Do you think this is a good move, Vass? And how many goals do you think he can score in the Championship next season?
Yeah, I do think it's a good move, Shan. I think last season he was at MK Dons, wasn't he? League One team. He had to make a step up. And we were saying on our own pod that we'd like to see him in the Championship this season. And he's secured a move. I think with that particular move, it should work quite well for him. Hopefully, he'll be playing in similar colours to Spurs, so that should keep him infused. I don't know how many goals he'll score. It really does depend how much game time he gets. But the good thing I like about Troy Parrott right now is that his trajectory seems to be moving in the right direction. He seems to have got his act together, if I can say that. He's got a different mindset, I think, as a footballer. And I think he's heading the right way. So I think he'll bag a few goals for that. I think if he gets about 15 goals this season, we should be happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. Gibbo, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Vass on that. And I can't remember what I listened to it on, but I think Preston play quite an attacking brand of football. I think they got quite an attacking lineup. So hopefully that will suit him, obviously with him being a forward. I think there's a few other Irish guys up there, so hopefully that'll help him settle in. But yeah, right, decent move. We need these players of ours, like obviously Troy Parrott's done that year in League One, but we need them to be. The Championship's a competitive league, isn't it? You know, if you do all right in the Championship, you're sort of halfway there. You're doing all right. So good move for him. The same for Scarlett. You know, I doubt somebody like Brian Hill would want to go and play in the Championship. But if we were loaning him out and we couldn't get a lower league Premier League team, I think a top Championship team isn't a bad move for him either. Obviously, we're not discussing him, but yeah, I think you can get a good judge of what a player is going to be like if they do well in the Championship, like we did with Skip. So yeah, good move. Hopefully, he'll score some goals and he'll get a bit of confidence and come back. Whether he gets another Championship loan next year or he comes back and can be part of our first team squad.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a great move, and he's chosen to go there himself. Do you think that'll make the world of difference, James? That he's chosen, that's where he wanted to go. Loads of offers on the table.
Certainly. I mean, if a player chooses to go to a club when they have options, that means they've obviously seen something in that club, right? Or the manager of the club has said something to them that fills them with confidence, or they know people there, so they can be more comfortable. They're not being forced away. I think it's crucial to just reiterate something. Harry Kane went on loan to Leicester back when they were in lower divisions, and he didn't necessarily do that great. But when he came back to Spurs, he did really good, right? Though, you know, even if Parrott goes to Preston, doesn't score a lot of goals, it's really crucial he gets that experience because he can still come back and be a big player for us. It's just about that development process. You look at the Irish players at Preston, like C. Maguire, doesn't score a lot of goals, right? Like 1 in 20. I'm sure Parrott, if given the opportunity, can do better than that because we know he's a talented lad, right? So he can step into that team and score goals and create chances. And I think even if he doesn't necessarily have like a well-beating Championship output, he's joining a mid-level team. I'm sure he can add something to them, take something from it for himself, and come back. And maybe in a season or two, he can really come back to Spurs and be an option on the table. Because again, it doesn't matter if he doesn't score 30. You know, I'm not expecting him to have like ridiculous levels of output, but if he can score a few goals, learn something from it, come back with experience, you know, that's all Harry Kane came back with, right? And he's the best striker in the world. He learned a lot from it. So that's what he's looking to get from it, I hope. And that's what realistically we should all be hoping he gets from it. And I think he will get that there.
I just think these Championship moves, they give you a good grounding. They give you sort of like a good base to come from. So yeah, should be a good move.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you started to talk about Harry Kane there, James, because it leads me on to my next thing. Fabrizio Romano has said that Tottenham want to give Harry Kane a new contract. I mean, Dr. Obvious over there. I think we all know that Tottenham would like to give Harry Kane a new contract to keep him at the club until the end of his career, maybe. Ali Gold has said that there's been no talks yet, but it's likely that Kane is open to signing a new contract with Tottenham, which is really positive. Can only mean good things for the club, can't it, Vass? If Harry Kane wants to stick around after that fiasco last summer.
Yeah, I think the fiasco last summer was a culmination of 2 years of Spurs being in the wilderness a little bit and losing their way. I was clear that once Pochettino was relieved of his duties and Mourinho came in, it all went sour very quickly, and then we didn't recover for a long while. Nuno project was a bit of a waste, and you can imagine Harry Kane's thinking, well, what the hell am I doing here? I think it's time to move on. But I think there's been a 180-degree turnaround now. Under Conte, this is a totally different ball game. Back in the Champions League, Harry Kane can see that the coach is getting back to the transfer window. I think he said in one of the interviews after the last pre-season friendly that he feels that there's a newfound kind of optimism, not just amongst the players, but the fans as well. And I think they're all feeling it right now. So there's a lot of positivity going on. And if you're going to give Harry Kane a new contract, then now's the time probably to pounce and try and get that done. I suspect that it will happen. I'm not hoping it will happen, obviously. I just think that the way things have gone, Harry Kane's options have been reduced somewhat in terms of going elsewhere. With Man City signing Haaland, that's out the window. I can't see him really going to any other club in the Premier League. So then that really only leaves him options abroad. And again, I think he's just too settled in England, and probably also wants to get that Premier League record off of Alan Shearer if at all possible. I know there's been a lot of chat lately about Bayern Munich, but that's not been founded on anything realistic. So I think Harry may well commit before the season's out for a longer contract.
Absolutely. And I think he's after Greavesy's record, isn't he, Gibbo? He wants that. He wants to be the Tottenham all-time goal scorer.
I should imagine he chases every record going, doesn't he, Kane? He's basically just bought in, hasn't he, to what we're trying to do. Like I said on Monday, up in Glasgow, after the Rangers game, he was sort of leading the team over to the fans, to cheer the fans at the end of the game. Like, that's just a complete turnaround from where we were this time last season. I obviously hope he'll sign a new contract. I'm not 100% convinced he will until we see what Conte's future holds as well. I think it's a bit like, I think they're a bit intertwined, but I agree. I can't see him moving out of this country. I think if Bayern want him, they'll try and get him on a free, because that's what they tend to do, don't they? They don't tend to pay big money. But hopefully he can see that we're trying to go in the right direction, and everything seems positive at the minute. And if we start the season well and full of promise, then hopefully I should imagine they have approached him already, but hopefully, by the time the transfer window shuts as well, we'll have another couple of players in, and he'll be thinking, we can go places now, and he'll commit his future to us.
There's a few people in the comments saying, like, why would he sign now? He doesn't need to, and echoing what you just said, Matt, about sticking around and waiting to see what happened with Conte.
Yeah.
As much as that might be a factor, what happens with Conte, I think he's got to look beyond that, because these signings that we're making right now, they're not just for however long Conte's here. These guys are bolstering the squad for the next 5 or 6 years. So you can see there's a rejuvenation going on amongst the squad, amongst also the attitude of the club. We're starting to behave differently in that respect. And listen, don't be surprised if Conte extends.
I think Conte will. Sorry, but I think once that happens, I think you might get two two announcements pretty close together.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's got the option for the extension. I heard it was the club, and if that is,
the club have the option to extend his contract.
Right. That's what I heard as well, Shan. So if that's the case, then if things are going well by the end of this season, there's no doubt in my mind that the club will extend Conte. So let's see. I think we might kind of put Conte in a bit of a trance. He might actually fall in love with us by the end of the season. So who knows? Watch this.
That's great, wouldn't it?
It's already started to happen, hasn't it? Like, I don't think he'll ever feel love like he's had from the Spurs fans anywhere else he goes. I think he feels settled, and he said in South Korea, that he's only getting started at Tottenham. I think that's an indicator that he's even before the Premier League ended, he was saying if he's given what Liverpool have given Klopp, he can do similar for us. And I think that's a key indicator that obviously the board are backing him. The board are giving him what he wants. He's getting support. The players are buying into what he wants to do. It feels very similar to that. Obviously, Liverpool struggled in their first season under Klopp until he could do what he wanted to do, clear out whoever he wanted to clear out, get players in that fit his image and his style of play, which is now what we're seeing with Conte. First season was a struggle. Obviously, he came in the middle of the season in November. We were in a bad moment. Fans were really, really despondent, weren't interested in the club, just wanted the season to end, wanted Nuno out, wanted everyone out, wanted Levy out. It was a really, really, really bad place to be. And then Conte comes and you've just got this new lease of life. I've never, ever felt how I feel, like an excitement for the new season as I have this season. It just feels completely different. I don't know how you feel about it, James.
I think that, there's so much to comment on from what's been said, and I mostly agree with what's been said. I'll just say a couple of things. Firstly, like, I can't lie. I remember the first show I did on the channel with you, Shan, watching the Burnley game with Nuno, and I'm just sat there and having a couple of drinks, and I think, bloody hell, I don't know what to say, right? Because this is dire, and I'm thinking, oh crikey, I'm doing a bad job here, aren't I? But really, do you know what? Hindsight, no, there was nothing to say, right? Conte comes in, he brings a new list to life. He is one of the top 3 managers in the world. I actually would argue, if you're someone like Harry Kane, what are you looking for? You're looking for the club to show ambition, because there's no doubt he loves the club, right? He wants to be here. He's got so many friends here. He's lived in London for a number of years. He's not in the same sense, like, you never see him in the papers for bad reasons. He's just a professional who wants to get on, play football. He wants to win a couple of things. He's just seemingly a normal bloke who was quite good at football, right? That's what it seems like. And he's at Spurs. He loves the club, I don't doubt. If you bring in a manager like Antonio Conte, you can't doubt the club shows some ambition, right? He is one of the best managers in the world. You look to this transfer window thinking, oh, well, do we back Conte? Richarlison, Perisic, Longley, Bissouma. We're bringing in these players that he wants, especially like Perisic and Richarlison, right? Like Richarlison, that's a big fee transfer. We're bringing in these players, and if you're Harry Kane, you're thinking, okay, we've got one of the best managers in the world. He's bringing in these big players, and I'm sure Conte's going to Harry and saying, look, mate, we're gonna, I don't know what the Italian word for mate is, but he's going to him and he's saying, look, we're gonna go big places, Conte isn't a guy who accepts failure. I remember his notorious quote at Juve. The board wants me to dine at a £100 restaurant, but they've only given me 50 quid. Well, do you know what? Fair play. We've given him some of the players he wants, and I don't doubt there'll probably be 1 or 2 more before the season starts, or at least 1 more. Harry Kane, you look at that and think, why would I go anywhere else? The fans love me. I've been here for years. Finally, we've got in a world-class manager, genuinely a world-class manager. That's not arguable. And the world-class manager has been backed by the board. If you're Harry Kane and you think, right, this is the time to go somewhere else, then I think you're nuts, right? Fundamentally, I think Conte will stay as well.
He's not thinking about going anywhere else at this very minute, mate. No, and with Conte, it's just you have You have to keep it up. You have to keep backing him. He will want the team to be reinforced every season. And he's a winner. He's not going, like you said, he's not going to accept failure. So the only way to get over that is just keep replenishing the squad, keep backing him, keep pushing forward. And that's what the club have to do now. It's all right doing it now, but we've got to continue that.
We've got to keep adding. I've got one more thing to add in regards to what Klopp did to Liverpool. What Klopp did to Liverpool was he took a team that was Brendan Rodgers' Liverpool side, and he totally transformed the style of play into his gang and pressing style, which I really enjoy to watch, right? And it's my tactic and football manager, if anyone's curious. It's really great to watch. Conte doesn't have such a demanding style of football. He said in interviews himself, I wasn't necessarily the best. I'm paraphrasing. He was saying, I'm not necessarily the best player, but I was always very hardworking. I always wanted to, in future, give my players, wanted to put my players in positions that they knew what they could do to perform well, sort of thing. There's those automated kind of systems where players will go into the same positions, and it's very simple for players to understand. It's a lot easier for players to grasp Antonio Conte's style of football than it is for Jurgen Klopp's. I very much think that the transformation under Conte is going to be quicker than the transformation under Klopp. And with the players we're bringing in, I don't know, Harry Kane's a smart guy. He's going to see this and think, well, do you know what? In a year or two, we could really be pushing Liverpool and Man City for the title. I'm not saying we'll win it, right? But we're going to be pushing those places, and I don't doubt that we will be challenging for titles. And if you're Harry Kane, you're going to stay. That's all he wants. He just doesn't want a club that's going to employ some mid-table bloke who's
going to make you proud.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
sorry, I'm going to make you proud.
It would mean more to Harry Kane, wouldn't it, Vass, to win even one trophy with Spurs than say 5 with City? Do you think?
Well, you can liken it to Francesco Totti at Roma. He said that winning one title with Roma would mean more than anything than repeated success at any other club. So you'd like to think that is the case with Harry Kane. I mean, there's a bit of a debate going on in the chat as to whether Kane will stay or Kane will go, and how much he's tied to Conte and all this. And I can't see, I can't see that this is all kind of up in the air right now. For me, it's the most certain it's been for a long while. Kane is here, Conte's here. Conte is probably running this club like he's wanted to, not running the club, but he's got the power in this club to the level that he always wanted the power at the other clubs that he's been at. The only reason he left clubs,
100%.
the only reason he left clubs before was because he didn't have the power. He was being told what he could and couldn't do. But it's very clear to us right now, and with Parrott at his side, that he's got the level of influence that he's wanted at the clubs. Now, if you're giving a top 3 manager like Conte that kind of power at the club, he's not just going to piss off and walk away. He's going to be demanding of his players and demanding of the club to meet the standards that he's setting. And I think we're in a position to do that now. And I think we can probably go on and back Conte for a good few years yet, given that a lot of the capital expenditure at Spurs has been done. It's in the bank. It's been sorted. We've got nowhere else to spend shed loads of revenue that we're getting on match days now, other than on the playing side. So we're primed right now. I think Conte can see that. I think Kane can see that. So I don't think that this is all doom and gloom. I think what's panicking everyone is the shortness of Conte's contract. That's all.
Yeah.
And this was the whole debate last season as well. Will he stay? Will he go? Will he stay? Will he go? Listen, he picked up Juventus when he took over at Juventus. They were 7th when he took over, and then he won them a title the following season. Now, I'm not saying he'll do that with us. I'm hoping he will, but it just shows that he can take a club that's a bit down and out and do something really well with them. So I think we're in a decent position now. I'd be more positive about how long Conte will be here. I'd also be more positive about how long Kane will be here. And if we keep moving in the right direction as we are, then I don't see anything to change my mind on that.
Yep. Definitely. I agree. And coming on to the signings as well, it looks like obviously we're in Israel on Saturday playing no other than Jose Mourinho's Roma, which I'm really looking forward to. That's going to be amazing. Gibbo.
Yeah. We got to beat them. I can't have Jose Mourinho turning us over. No. We have to beat them no matter as well.
He'll be desperate too, Vass. He'll absolutely stink the joint out to beat us.
He will.
You can see it. It'll be a stink fest.
Conte hates him as well. Conte and Mourinho hate each other. So it's going to be it's not going to be a friendly. It's going to be a proper game, which we need. Obviously, the Premier League season I can literally see it. I can see that first. I can smell the high road already. It's starting to come back, ready for Southampton next Saturday. But yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it. And while we're there, Gibbo, we could be sealing the Zaniolo deal. Was that one that excites you?
It doesn't really excite me because I've not seen a fat lot of him. Obviously, he's promising. Like we've been after him before he had his ACL injuries. So it's not one that really excites me, but it's definitely one that I think will improve the squad more than improve the first 11. But where he sort of fits in, not 100% sure. And I don't mean like where he fits in. I just mean it positional wise. I don't know where he sort of drops in. But I assume he can play a variety of positions along sort of the front line. Talking about that he can probably play him as an attacking midfielder or one of the wide forwards. I think he's even played centre forward for Roma before. But yeah, if it happens, if he's the guy they sort of like deem is the right fit and they're going to bring him into the squad, then go for it. But I think there's probably a few options on the table and we'll see what works best for us. But I should imagine, Parrott will be having a cheeky chat, won't he, with their sporting director, see what he can do. See if we can palm like Ndombele or Lo Celso or Reguilon in the deal to cut the price down a bit, I should imagine. But yeah, but it depends how the game goes, isn't it? Because Jose might just turn around and say, nah, we're not letting him go there. He might just put the mockers on it, and he's that type of shit house, isn't he?
Well, yeah, but they've obviously just signed Dybala. Zaniolo can play on the right of the three, so it'd be backup or competition for Kulusevski, and he can also play in that central role. So it's about switching up tactics. Remember, like we said so many times, having that squad depth to be able to change things when you need to, and having the players with the lock picker as such. I think Kulusevski can do that as well.
Oh, definitely.
Another player of similar ilk. You don't want to be playing these young players every week. Kulusevski's only 22. Yeah.
From my scouting network of YouTube, I've seen Zaniolo, and when I look at him, that's where I could see him, because obviously left-footed, big, strong, powerful, like Kulusevski. Really good maybe a good option, to come in over him now and then. But like talk about Kulusevski, what a player he is. So, if he's nearly as good as him, we'll have a decent player on our hands. If we get him, obviously. If we go from him, we get him.
I mean, James, it's looking pretty good. The noise is getting louder each day, isn't it? From your vast knowledge of stats, what do you make of it? Would you be happy to see him? I mean, you said you wanted him over Maddison. So
yes, I did. And that's solely for two reasons, and I'll give those two reasons, and I hope everyone will agree with me. A, he's way more versatile than Maddison. His defensive numbers are way better. I can't recall Maddison's off the top of my head, but looking at my beautiful Excel spreadsheet, which for some reason I haven't added Maddison to, Zaniolo's defensive numbers are pretty good. 16 pressures a game. He wins aerial duels. He wins nearly one a game. He commits over a tackle a game. But the real thing for him is, in my opinion, for Zaniolo, and why I think he would be beneficial to Spurs, is he creates 3.7 shot creating actions a game, aka a pass or a dribble that leads to a shot, right? And he takes 3.2 shots a game. Shots lead to goals. If a player shoots, inevitably they're going to score at some point, right? I don't think that's rocket science. He's good in the air. Yeah, he can play in deeper roles. He can play further forward. He's defensive enough that I think if you had a guy like Højbjerg or Skip or Basuma covering for him, it would be fine in 99.9% of games. And he's got those good attacking numbers. You can play in the front line. You know, you could play front line of Kane, Son, Zaniolo, or you could play Richarlison, I don't know, more at Zaniolo. It's fine. You could drop Zaniolo into the midfield, right? As a 2. You could do that, definitely. He's good enough to do that role. Whereas Maddison, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. His defensive numbers are pretty abhorrent. You could play a 3 with Zaniolo. The problem with Maddison is that he would be limited to playing in that attacking front 3 or in a 3-5-2. Zaniolo, you could drop him into a mid 2. Zaniolo creates more shot creating actions than 90, and he's better in terms of progressive passes received. In other words, he's getting into positions where people can pass the ball forward to him. I bottom line think that in a Jose Mourinho system, which is, let's be honest, awful football, very defensive, if he's getting these numbers, they would get better under Antonio Conte with better players around him. So I think fundamentally he's a better player and he should join Spurs. In regards to the friendly itself, yeah, Conte's a better manager. There's no argument. I don't think you can even argue that. Yeah, Jose Mourinho won stuff in 2004. Yeah, I was 1 in 2004. I don't give 2 flying shits about that. I can't lie. He's dreadful now. He was dreadful for United. He was dreadful for us. I think Conte's the way better manager. He fundamentally takes decent teams and turns them into title winners. He won a Premier League with Gary Cahill and David Luiz in defence. Like, come on, guys. And Victor Moses. Like, how can you not think this guy's great? Jose Mourinho, when he won the league with Chelsea, had 11 effectively world-class players. Like, I could manage 11 world-class players, right? Maybe I couldn't, but do you know what I mean? Like, you could take virtually any manager, and if they had that surplus of talent, they could win. Conte takes pretty average teams with 1 or 2 stars, like Kane and Son, and with the correct players, I'm not necessarily saying well-beaters, I'm saying the players that fit his system, right? That's the crucial thing to note. He can turn the entire team into a system that will win titles and a lot of games. And that's why I think Conte's better. He's like a good Mourinho, basically. We're going to batter Roma. I hope we beat them like 7-0 or something, but I think we'll win. And Zaniolo, he'd be tremendous for Spurs. He should come to Spurs to play under Antonio Conte. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I don't know. I'm not a Spurs in the know on Twitter or something, but yeah, he'd be brilliant for us. And if he does join, you should be very excited, like you should be with Longley, because I know I managed to convince you, Shan, didn't I? So,
yeah,
just saying. And this guy agrees with me, so I like
the only issue with Zaniolo, I think, is the fact that he's had a couple of serious injuries over the last 4 seasons. He's only managed to play something like 81 games for Roma, so 26, 28, 0, and 28. So. There are issues there, but of course it always comes back to Conte. If Conte wants a player, then we should be happy with that. I think Zaniolo gives us a number of options. He's clearly a good talent, and it allows us to maybe switch things up and change the system from 3-4-3 to 3-5-2 and sort of flood the midfield a little bit if needed. There's a lot of chat amongst Spurs fans, always is, that we need this lock picker, this creative midfielder, and all this and that. And I'm not saying Spurs fans that say this are wrong in any way, but I kind of draw the comparison with Liverpool. If I was to ask you guys here, who's Liverpool's creative midfielder?
They don't have one, do they, Vass? They have 3. They've got a workman-like midfield. The creativity, the width obviously comes from the fullbacks, and they rely on Firmino. Used to sort of drop deep in the wide men. Mane and Salah. They're the guys who get the goals, aren't they? You know,
right.
And
so this is exactly what we've got going on at Spurs at the moment. You need a compact and steady central area so that you can attack and have all the flair down the sides with the wing backs who are critical to Conte's system, and then the attacking quality of a Son, Kulusevski, Kane, obviously, who can also drop deep, and this changes everything. So whilst I agree we should have a more creative midfielder in the squad, for me it's not the be all and end all. But yeah, if we want Zaniolo, let's get him in. No, if we can, no problem at all.
It's to change it up, isn't it, Vass? Getting that creative player, because obviously, as people say, the creativity and sort of like the outlets for Conte's teams are the wing backs, aren't they? That's where that's where we need it from. So, but I think we do need it in that squad, because sometimes you are going to have to. Last year we brought players off and we changed it. But it's also getting that guy who comes in who knows that's his role in the squad. We've sort of said this before, that they might not be these guys. Some of these guys are guaranteed starters for their team. They might come to Spurs and being the player who plays that role. They're not going to have that, are they? So you need someone who's going to come in, buy into that, and say, yeah, I can do that. I can make that work. I'm going to get enough games, and I know what my role is.
Well, I think that's critical, because you've only got to look at someone like Richarlison, for example. There's no way in the past we would have been spending 50, 60 million on a player and have him sit on the bench. But that's precisely where Richarlison is likely to start.
But he's bought in, hasn't he? He's bought in.
Yeah, everyone will have to buy in. And people like Sonny and Kulusevski are going to have to understand that there are going to be games where they don't actually start, because we've got the quality in the squad now to mix things up a little bit. So, be interesting. I'm sure Conte's got the gravitas and the leadership and the respect amongst the players for them to accept what he's doing and what he's saying. And this is what you get with a quality manager. I mean, can you imagine Nuno trying to implement something like that? It wouldn't work, because somebody like Kane would just kind of look down and say, mate, who are you?
They'd had a tits full by the time we played that first Europa League game, hadn't they? That Conference League game. They'd had enough. Like, this ain't working, mate.
No,
this ain't working. A teams and B teams.
Yeah, going back to this conversation about how long Conte will be here. I mean, you look at it. Sean has already said about the comments he made regarding what Klopp did at Liverpool, etc. He's in the best league in the world. He's got the best players in the world. He's got the best managers in the world. He's got the most money in the world. Absolutely right, Matt. So, where else would you rather manage? And so I think if this season pans out the way we're hoping it is, I think we could have a good thing going on for a couple of seasons at least.
Yeah, and Vass, I just want to get your opinion on, obviously, there's a lot of chat. Is it Zaniolo or Maddison? Who's better for Spurs? Obviously, Maddison's homegrown, but he's also going to be a lot more expensive. What's your thoughts on that?
Maddison's a gooner, isn't he? He said some bad things about Spurs in his youth. I don't know. Listen, whoever Conte wants, I think if Conte prefers Zaniolo, then that's who we should try and get. The only thing in Maddison's favour right now is the issue about me helping along with the homegrown quota in the squad. As far as players go, I can take or leave either one of them personally.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
This guy agrees with me.
Sticking with the Italian league, it's looking like Japhet Tanganga's potentially closing in on a move to AC Milan. That's a pretty big move, isn't it, Gibbo, for Tanganga, who's not really starting. He isn't starting for Spurs. He's not in Conte's plans, really. He's not consistent enough. Obviously, we saw that in the games against Chelsea where he was absolutely woeful. What do you make of this? AC Milan coming in for Japhet.
Great move for Japhet. Brilliant move for him. They know the art of defending over in Italy, don't they? But he's one. I think he definitely needs to go out, play some minutes. He's never really played enough games for Spurs, even when he came in. And we all thought he was going to, obviously, came in that Liverpool game and he played really well in the Borough game. But then he picked up injuries then. And then he did the same last season. He's never looked confident. I mean, the Man City game, first game of the season last year, was brilliant. But over a period of time, he's never appeared confident or sort of really felt like he's part of that first 11. And I think as fans now, we're sort of like, wow, what really is he? Is he good enough? We don't know. We haven't seen him play enough games, but I don't think he'll get enough games under Conte because he's behind so-and-so and so-and-so. So I think a loan move for him is good. If you can do like a loan move with an option to buy, and if he goes out there and he smashes it and we think we can get him back, and he'll be getting the team. Great, but I've also heard that there's sort of like a loan with an option to buy, but we get a buyback option.
Yeah,
which is also good. But I think it's a decent move for him. I mean, it worked out well for the guy from Chelsea, didn't it? What's his name? Tamori. He went over there and it worked well for him. So if that does come off for Jaffa, I think fantastic move for him, because it's good to go and play in in different countries and different cultures and stuff like that. And I'm not sure though how much game time he'd get if he went there. They won the league last year, AC Milan. So it seemed a strange move from them to go for Tanganga, and unless there's more chance of him playing squad games for them than there would be him coming in for us. If you get what I mean, because we've got more players in front of him than there would be at AC Milan. But yeah, definitely good move for him, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, definitely. James, what do you think?
He's clearly got a good agent.
Yeah,
an Italian agent, which helps, isn't he?
A couple of things, right? So, Tanganga hasn't had necessarily that many games for us, but he's played more games for us in the Premier League than Tamori played for Chelsea when he went to Milan, right? So, bottom line, he's actually got more experience despite being a year younger. The thing I note most prominently with Milan is when I look at when I look at our centre back options, I look at players like Simon Kajier. Sorry if that's a horrible pronunciation to anyone who's Danish.
Kiar, and it.
Kiar. I apologize. I apologize. You look at a guy like Tamori who's quite physical, but do they have anyone who's quite dynamic and quick as a centre back? I don't think they necessarily do, right? When I look at our centre back options, they've only got really like Kiar, Tamori, and Kalulu, right? Basically, that's their options at the back, aside from fullbacks like Florenzi. And I think, I can see why they'd want to bring in a fourth guy. I mean, other than that, they've got fullbacks. They've got Balotore, who came from Monaco. He's a left back, can also play right back. They haven't really got necessarily that many options unless they want to bring in like a proper youngster like Avia. I don't know, because it really does seem to me like if they're looking to bring him in, right, they obviously see a course for him. And they haven't got that many dynamic centre-back options. So maybe they're thinking, look, this guy, he's pretty quick. He's moderately quick. He's strong. He can play right back as well as centre-back. He's versatile. They haven't necessarily got that much cover for a guy like Florenzi. And I guess they're thinking, well, look, he can cover at centre-back for us. He can cover at right back for us. We're going to have a lot of games next season. This is a guy that's pretty dynamic. He's got more experience in the Premier League than a guy like Tamori, who did very well for us. And I guess they're thinking, do you know what? This is a punt that's worth taking. He can get some game time. And I think it's worth him taking because he will definitely learn something from it. At very least, hopefully we can find out what his position is. Is he a right back or is he a centre back? And if we can figure that out, then we can work out what we want to do with him, as it were.
That's what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's a great move for Tanganga. For me, he had to go out on loan, if only to prove that he can stay fit for a whole season, because he hasn't managed to do that at Spurs yet. He's been plagued by injuries and he's still young and he really needs a full season behind him. He's not going to get a full season's worth of playing time at Spurs, so he had to move on. To land at AC Milan is an excellent result for him, if that concludes. And based on what James was just saying, I think AC Milan probably want him for his versatility. He can play right back, and play left back, and play central. So, they can use him wherever. And I think the Italian league's a decent league, don't get me wrong, but AC Milan, they just win the league, Matt, you said.
Yeah, I think they won it, yeah.
Yeah. So AC Milan are generally dominating teams anyway. They probably don't have that much defending to do. So that's probably somewhere that they haven't really focused in their squad, and it's evident by the names that James churned out just then. So, yeah, it could work out quite well for Tanganga. And again, I think the most important thing is to see if he can get a full season out of him. And
he'll get some Champions League experience there as well, hopefully, won't he? Obviously, because they're in the Champions League, and if he can get some games from it could work out well for Spurs as well. If Vas said, he can get a full season in and we can see where he plays. it might be a case that we bring him back and he actually comes in for us and can do a job.
What exactly? I mean, a small point as well is, right, all of their centre-backs are quite ball-carrying players. Like, you've kind of got two types of defenders. You've got the traditional type of defender, right? The no-nonsense, slide tackling guy. Get a mental image of that. Then you've got the more progressive passing centre-back, right? Almost like Longley, right? Very few players can do both. Inter Milan basically don't have that many really traditional centre-back, which I think Tanganga really suits because he's physical, he's quite quick, he's got a little bit of Ledley King in him, right? I think maybe that's an unfair comparison, but I think he's got a little bit of that in him. So maybe Milan are thinking, look, Champions League, we're going to start playing teams that are better than us. If we want to go far in that, we need a guy who's physical, quick, and a no-nonsense defender to pair with one of those more progressive guys, right? Because we're not going to be able to dominate Real Madrid, City, Liverpool, Bayern, those guys. So if we're bringing a guy who's just going to come in, he can fill in after a bit of experience, or right back or centre back, and just play that, slide tackle, get the ball the fuck away kind of defender, he can do a good job. And if we find out that's the kind of guy he is, in a year or two, he's covered for Dyer. Maybe he takes over as Dyer when Dyer starts to get on a bit, I can definitely see that. It's just, I think this loan is just about getting him some experience in a different league and fundamentally facilitating and understanding what his role in football is. Because we don't really know. Is he a right back? Is he a centre back? Is he something more progressive? It's just about understanding, and for him to understand what position he's going to play in, what he's best in, so that we have a better understanding in future. Is he a guy we need? Is he a guy we necessarily don't need? I don't want it to be a situation where he goes to Milan and then bye-bye, he never comes back to Spurs. Because I like the guy, right? I think he's a good player. There's definitely something in him, right? 100%. So I hope there's a buyback option and we can bring him back if he turns out to be the next Maldini, although we all know Maldini is Ben Davies. But yeah, I think that's fundamentally what this loan is about. And if Milan has seen something in him, right, I'm sure their scouts are better qualified than I am. So obviously they know they've seen something I haven't seen, but I do think it's a good loan for him. And for Milan, actually.
That's definitely a good point. And this question's good because it brings us on to the next part of the run sheet. Obviously, news today that we may be looking at a potential exchange for Reguilon to go to Barcelona. I mean, these guys have got the audacity of I don't know who they think they are, Vass. What are you making of, firstly, the Barcelona situation at the minute? They can sign 60 million players, but they can't pay their existing players' wages. And also, obviously, the Reguilon. I personally don't see Reguilon ever agreeing to go to Barcelona because he's a Madrid forward, but what do you make of it?
There was a piece on how Barcelona are managing to do all these transactions, and I can't for the life of me remember.
Swiss Ramble, wasn't it?
Said so. Forgive me. There's something to do. Sorry,
they've sold their TV rights, haven't they?
I think it might have also been enough. Yeah, they sold part of their TV rights, and then there was some doctoring with the PFF because of the COVID and how much losses you can make, and some creative accounting going on to allow them to make transfers. That popped up then was which Barcelona player would we take as a part of a swap deal. So it sounds like they're in the market for maybe doing a swap or doing a player exchange of some description. I can't really say, to be perfectly honest with you. I think if we
It looks like his internet's gone down. Do you want me to carry on?
Yeah, go on, Gibbo. I know you can talk for days if you want to.
Oh. Yeah. He's back. Yeah.
He's back.
Welcome back.
Was that me? Did I disappear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the internet went a bit loopy-loo just there for a moment. Sorry about that.
You were just about to tell us which player, or you were thinking about which player you could get involved in a swap deal for Reguilon.
It's a good job the internet froze then, because I don't know is the short answer. I'd rather have cash.
Yeah. I think if I think I've spoke about this before. There was talk of Memphis, and I know that he's obviously played in the Premier League before and not done really well, but I quite like him. I think he's better than Lucas, definitely. But if we're sort of going for this Zaniolo thing as well, I don't think you get both of those in. But I can only think Memphis, maybe. Ndombele, what are they doing with him now? Because they would talk about him moving on from there. He's a wide man, isn't he? They give him a new contract now.
A 1 year extension, yeah. If I had to pick somebody, maybe Sergio Dest is their right back, their right wing back.
Yeah. I mean, if we could get hold of a decent right back, right wing back from them, because the last one we got from there is a bit like that. But I think that's if we could upgrade our right wing back situation with a move, I'm not sure we'd be able to. Then that'd be good. But they tend to buy a lot of players, don't they? These clubs, like they get these players who very, very rarely play for them, and same with Real Madrid. So I wouldn't want to end up with anyone like that. So, like Vass says, unless it's somebody who can actually really benefit us, then if they want Reguilon,
Gibbo, is that what you're getting at?
I'm trying not to sort of shit all over Emerson or anything like that, really. But yeah, we want players now who are going to contribute, don't we? So I'm looking at it, Memphis, like Dest, like Vass said, maybe. But apart from that, unless we're going to get Frankie de Jong, which I don't think we would, then not too sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also the fact that Reguilon is a Madrid boy and he's probably not going to want to go there anyway.
I don't think that. I can't see that. I can't see him going to Barcelona. I might be wrong, but it just doesn't sound like it's something that really will happen.
Maybe now Jules Koundé to Sevilla's done.
To Barca.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you're right, Shan. I think that he could end up going back there.
I mean, I don't think this deal happens, regardless. I don't think he goes to Barca. But you know what? Let's humour the question, okay? Let's say it does happen. Who would I ideally want? Not realistically, because realistic questions are boring. Who would I ideally want? I'm going to throw out a hot take, and everyone prepare to be shocked. Sergio Busquets. Sergio Busquets of Spurs, right? And like everyone in the comments, don't get annoyed and start laughing. I'm just saying, what do we lack? A deep line player who can play in a defensive role, but still has good passing capacity. What does Sergio Busquets do for Barcelona? He sits deep and passes the ball with some decent defensive interceptive numbers. Like, I look, I'm just saying, 2.6 tackles a game, 1.8 interceptions a game in a Barcelona side that has the majority of the ball. It would go up on the Antonio Conte side with 78 passes a game and 6.19 progressive passes a game. I'm just saying, if we were to hypothetically trade for any Barcelona player, I'm taking Sergio Busquets. Yeah, look, Paul, mate. I know it's not realistic. That's what I just said. I just said, ideally, if I was playing like Football Manager or something, this is the player I wanted. Okay? The question was ideally and realistically. I was ignoring the realistically part to make an interesting point. But Sergio Busquets for Spurs, could you imagine that? Like, we would genuinely, in my opinion, be title challenging at that point.
Somebody in the comments earlier said that Gerard Piqué is actually classified as homegrown, so maybe we'll go for him, And as a package, we'll get Shakira as well.
Yeah, now he's after him, I reckon.
Yeah, they split up, haven't they? Yeah, he's been playing away. He's been playing away fixtures, mate.
Oh, is he? I
think so, yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting slander from Cooler here. Bottom line, I never said it was realistic. I'm just saying, if Sergio Busquets came to Spurs, we would be a top three team.
Oh, it's good.
I never said he would came to Spurs. I agree with you, Shan. I never said he would come to Spurs. I specifically stated I'm ignoring the realistic part. This is my ideal swap. Just saying. Okay. Simple as.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Just because I know Caller is in the comments, and this is a serious concern because I don't actually know where Winks goes at this point. But if we don't get some homegrown players in, we could be stuck with Winks for another season. Vass How would you feel about this?
I don't think Winks stays. I think it's been pretty clear that Winks is one of the cluster of players that is going to have to find a new club. The only concerning thing is that so far there's been no real progress on Winks or Ndombele, or really Reguilon's only just recently been rumoured as maybe a potential club, and Lo Celso's still hanging around as well. So I think Parratti's got his work cut out to move these players on, and I think Winks will move on eventually.
Where do you see him going, Gibbo?
I'm not sure. I think the likes of Lo Celso and Ndombele and Winks will probably go towards the end of the transfer window because people know we want rid of them. So
true.
They're not going to come in with big bids. And the closer it gets to the transfer window, we need to move them on to maybe bring someone else in, or maybe we just want to move them on for the sake of the squad. I don't really know. I mean, they've been talking about Leicester, talk about Southampton. Said this before. I don't not dislike Winks, but I think a club like Norwich would be good for Winks. I think he could go there, and I think he could probably stay there for quite a few years. And they're a yo-yo club, and he'll be up and down with them. But I think he'd always be pretty decent for him because I just don't think. I think we've moved miles on from him, and I think the injury he had set him back a bit. And I don't think he's a top half of the Premiership player. I don't think he's that good. Possibly they talk about Everton, but I'm not sure he'd get in at Everton. I'm not having a go with him or putting him down, but I'm trying to think of a like Forest might be a good move for him.
Please,
or Fulham. But I like I said, Norwich, I genuinely don't know where he gets in. And that's not me being really disrespectful or having a go at him. I just don't see what he would offer teams higher up the league. When I look at Villa, I've got a lot of people I know who support Aston Villa, and they've got like McGinn, a guy called Nakamba, and they've got Louise, and they brought someone in from Marseille. Like they finished sort of 15th, 14th, 15th last year, but he wouldn't get in there if he went there. Newcastle are looking to push on. So I genuinely don't know where he goes.
Yeah,
that's the thing. For every player, there needs to be a buyer, doesn't there? I mean,
yeah,
that's the thing.
I
don't think. Sorry,
I think Norwich could be good for him, or even like a club like Brighton, where they want to play the ball a lot because he
wouldn't get in.
Do you not
wouldn't
think?
get in there? No, he's not good enough. They move the ball quick. They're dynamic. I genuinely don't think he get in. I think, like I said, I know Norwich have gone down now, but if he'd have gone there 6 months ago, he could have gone there. They'd have gone down. If he'd have stayed there, he'd have probably had a good season. I think he could have a really good career at somewhere like Norwich.
I'll say in Winks. Sorry to interrupt, Matt. I think the thing I'll say about Winks is when he first broke into this team under Poch, he looked like a progressive type of midfielder. Then somewhere along the line, and predominantly under Mourinho as well, he became this defensive midfielder that just kind of kept the ball moving, whether it was sideways or backwards or whatever. He lost that thing where he would make these forward passes or carry the ball a little bit forward and be on the half turn all the time looking for a forward pass. He lost that somewhere. And I think a lot of his form dipping goes back to the injuries he had. And remember when Pochettino said that he's going to constantly play in pain from now on. I don't think he's been the same player. So I feel for him. I mean, he's a Spurs boy. He loves the club, whatever. But yeah, the time now has come to move on because, the players around him just become that much better than him. So
I may be doing him a disservice. He may be able to go to a Brighton or somebody like that and recapture some of the bits he used to have, and he might fit in and he might come on, but get his form back and get his confidence back. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure. I don't see where he ends up, but like that. So I wish him all the best, but it's just time to move on.
Yeah.
James, I want to get your view on this, but Bournemouth as well. Obviously, you've got, I Oh my god, the name is evading me and it's really, really bad. Scotty Parker. You've got Scotty Parker at Bournemouth. Do you think that could be a good move for him? Maybe.
I don't necessarily think it's a good move because of Scott Parker, right? I don't know. Because, like, when you look at Brighton, they, what's his face? Graham Potter utilized a lot of different players. Like, Basuma, for example, didn't play a lot last season, rather. You could definitely see a player like Winks getting into a lot of various roles. In my opinion, his lack of performance in recent years is definitely a confidence issue. Like, you don't forget how to pass the ball forward, do you? Unless, like, you have a head injury, which I don't think he's had. Probably shouldn't joke about that. But anyway, regardless, he's not good enough for us now, right? But could he get into a team like Brighton? Yeah, he could definitely play games for them. He could definitely play those roles, right? Like, it all comes down to management and confidence.
Brighton have lost Basuma as well, and I'm not saying Winks is anywhere near the level of Basuma because we know he's not. But
he's different. He's a different player. He's a completely different type of player. Basuma's way more box to box. I think the problem Winks has is look, he's not a big guy, right? He's pretty lightweight. He's not a box to box. He's not like a deep line playmaker or something like that. What he is he's one of those guys who can sit in midfield and pass the ball forward. Under Mourinho, he lost that ability, whether it was because of confidence, because Mourinho was a dick to him or something, or whether Mourinho told him not to do that. I don't know. But we could also, under Pochettino, him playing those long diagonal forward passes, right? There was a reason Guardiola at one point wanted Winks at City. Guardiola doesn't want a guy if he's, like, not good, okay?
So you don't want him now?
He does not want him now.
Could you imagine Harry Winks to Manchester City? You heard it here first.
But at one point, he was playing in a way that Guardiola wanted him. And you don't lose that ability. It's not like he slowed down or he's lost his strength. He was never one of those guys. It's just a confidence thing. I can see him going to Brighton and playing that very in a more forward role if he's protected by more physical players. If Potter builds back up his confidence, like I don't doubt he could, and he's playing that more progressive brand of football. Look, I joked about smoking a cigar when he leaves Spurs, which, like cigars are expensive. I can't afford that. And he's a Spurs boy, deep down, my heart goes out to him, right? He's lived the dream. I would love to play for Spurs, and I'm shit at football, right? I'm sure everyone would be rating me if I played for Spurs. The bottom line is I think he could go to a team like Brighton, maybe Bournemouth. I don't think Bournemouth suits him. The issue with Bournemouth is very much the issue with Fulham, is that they're gonna struggle to adapt to the Premier League. At least at Brighton, he would be jumping into a system that already knows the Premier League, is good enough for the Premier League, and Potter could kind of slot him in at some point, at various points, to play a certain role. I don't think he's actually that bad a player. He just doesn't suit Antonio Conte or Spurs or a top 4 team, but he's definitely a Premier League quality player who suits a mid-table side. That's
Bournemouth have just bought Tavernier from Middlesbrough, though, haven't they? They just agreed a fee for Tavernier. Does he play middle of midfield for Middlesbrough? So they've bought him. I don't know how much they've outlaid for him, and they've bought him and brought him up from the Championship to play for them, when they could have probably, and if they wanted to, they could have got Winks, who's played in the Premier League, got experience. And I just look at that and thinking that those sorts of clubs aren't looking at Winks. They're not looking at. I just don't see where I'm just looking at it and I can't see where he ends up. I don't know what future holds for him.
We all worry Spurs in the past for bad scouting and transfer identification in the market, right? But sometimes I think we have a tendency to assume that other teams have perfect transfer identification in the market, aka, this guy can fit a system, we should bring him in. I'm seeing a lot in the comments about Winks being finished or a League One player. Guys, no. A bad manager knocking your confidence is not the same as what happened to Dele Alli. What happened to Dele Alli is very complicated, and we could probably have a whole show dedicated to talking about that, right? Which I'll be happy to do. Leave a like if you want that to happen. But I think the bottom line is that maybe just because a club signed a guy doesn't mean that they were correct to do so. Clubs have bad transfer policy, just the same as we do. It's just in mid-table clubs, it's less prominent than at Spurs. That's my only counter to you, Matt. I do think you raise a relevant point. My point is fundamentally that I do think Winks is a quality player. If a manager can bring back his confidence and get the output out of him that he has. But Mauricio Pochettino got out of him in his earlier years.
Mate, I hope he gets a good move. And he has a good career. I hope that happens for him.
Okay.
Sorry, Shan.
We've spoken about Winks enough. I think we're going to send Caller in some sort of brain aneurysm or something if we talk about it any longer. Ndombele. And this is going to be quick because I can't bear.
Yeah.
I want to get Vass's opinion on Ndombele.
Oh, Shan. When we signed him, how excited was everyone?
Really
I think we were all like over the moon, weren't we? What
Yeah.
a disaster that's turned out to be. I think we'll be giving him away pretty soon and probably paying half of his wages as well. All we need to do is find a taker. The problem is we sent him out to his old club last season in the hope that he could rediscover a little bit of form and make himself appealing to teams. And he went back home thinking he'd be happy there, and he went and shit the bed again. So really don't understand what's gone on with Ndombele. We just got to hope somebody takes him before the end of this window.
And the problem is, Poch isn't at a club now to take him off our hands either.
True.
I don't think he would. He would.
Probably wouldn't.
So,
No.
We're going to have to take the hit on him, aren't we? Whatever happens, we're taking a hit.
Another Serge Aurier situation, but he's in contract until 2025, isn't he?
Yeah, we're just going to take a massive hit on him. That'll be the only way we get rid, or we'll just end up loaning him, and eventually someone might buy him.
Well, you just keep loaning him until his contract runs out.
Yeah,
don't you?
pretty much. Could end.
That's harsh.
I don't know if it is harsh to be fair. To be fair,
You are.
it's not that easy to get a job at McDonald's these days, you know. So to be fair, maybe Ndombele.
You know what's really frustrating? The really frustrating thing with Ndombele is we're looking for that creative player that can do the things that Ndombele can do. We all know that he can do it. We've all seen the type of goals that he scores, like his passes. Like he only needs a moment to create a little bit of magic, but he just does not work hard enough. He doesn't have the attitude, he doesn't have the desire, and he can't get himself up for every single game. He can only get him up for 1 in 10 games, and it's just not good enough.
Conte's done with him. That's the issue as well now. Conte's done with him. He's done.
Yeah.
When Ndombele came in, I very much thought here's our Moussa Dembele replacement, right? He's a little bit more attacking, but that's fine, right? We'll have a defensive guy to cover for that. He's very much our Dembele replacement. Pochettino left. Ndombele scored that goal against, I think it was Villa, right? Pretty early on in the season. Yeah, I'm recording.
First game.
First season. Yeah. And I think, okay, you know what? This is Moussa Dembele, but with goals. So, fuck me, we could be onto a world beater here, right? We all saw those highlights against Man City. But the fundamental problem is he's a guy who obviously doesn't want to be at Spurs anymore. He's lazy. He pissed me off on my birthday. So, you know, whatever. If you can't do it against Morecambe, you shouldn't be a Tottenham Football Club. You shouldn't be a Premier League football club. I don't care. If you can't be fucked to show up against Morecambe Town when Antonio Conte, one of the best managers in the world, is your manager against Morecambe Town, here's your chance to show up, just be a bit of a prat, show up the Morecambe players, do a few tricks or whatever, just absolutely show them up, and maybe Conte goes, you know what, fair play, I'm going to put you in the team. He couldn't be bothered to do that. When he got subbed off, he sulked off the pitch, and you know what, at that point I was done with him. And I don't care where he goes. He can go to bloody Australia for all I care. Actually, I have family members in Australia, so I prefer he didn't go to Australia. But he's not good enough for Spurs. It says something that when he went on loan in France, they don't want him. We're going to have to take a hit on him. He's on huge bloody wages. I don't care where he goes. It's one of the mistakes we've made that was costly. He's just not. We
need
enough.
To move him on.
I'm sorry. To move him on. Yeah, I agree, Matt. I don't give two flying fucks where he goes. Don't care. Morecambe Town, he seems about League One level, doesn't he? I don't care. Fuck me, he could play for my local five-a-side team, and he probably struggled to get in the first 5. So I don't care. Not good enough. I don't care.
That's what's frustrating. He is good enough. It's his attitude, his commitment, and his desire that are that fundamentally lacking. And I don't know why we didn't pick this up before we thought of him, because it's just.
I think the thing was he joined expecting Pochettino and Pochettino's style of management, which I think was quite, arm around the shoulder. We're going to do my football, but I'm going to be there for you, right? I think we all kind of read towards the end he became too much of friends with players, and I think he was expecting that kind of environment. But then Pochettino leaves, which is probably a bit of a shock to any player who's just joined under Pochettino. And then a guy like Mourinho comes in, who's very different. Maybe that killed his confidence, but if you can't pick yourself up when Antonio Conte goes in and look, right, clean slate, this is one of the best managers in the world. If I give 100% for him, he will give me a chance, right? And the fact that he didn't want to do that for him, I think that shows a fundamental lack of maturity. And that's something that won't fly under Antonio Conte. Bottom line, if Antonio Conte doesn't want him, piss off.
To be honest, I think it was dead when Levy sort of gave him that lecture in the All or Nothing documentary about how he was bad at maths in school, and now
I think
in economics or whatever it is.
We bought him on the strength of one season. Didn't really look at the rest of his career. He was fantastic. We made the Champions League. We'd just been in the Champions League final the year before. We wanted to make a statement signing to replace Moussa Dembele. He was the guy everybody was talking about, and I don't think we really looked into the transfer in his attitude and all those types of things enough, and it's just gone Pete Tong, hasn't it? So we're gonna have to take the hit and move on.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with the hottest Spur there in the comments. He says Poch may have been the only one who could have got a tune out of Ndombele, like he did with Dele Alli. I suspect because when Ndombele arrived, even Pochettino said he's going to need at least a year. But of course, Poch only got like 3 months with him and he got sacked.
Poch said that about everyone, though, didn't he?
I don't think he was wrong.
He wasn't wrong. If you bear in mind that before Ndombele had his magic season at Lyon, he was playing like 2 seasons before. He was in the French 4th division or something. Yeah, so his rise was pretty rapid. And moving from France to England is a challenge for any player, even a long-established player, a lot of the time. And Ndombele just kind of missed the boat. And yeah, what Matt said with Mourinho coming here, it just all went sour anyway. Anyway, look, it's all down to the player at the end of the day. If he can't back his ideas up, then he has self-motivational issues. But we really need to find a club for him as soon as possible. He needs to be out the door.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with everything that was said. Great points, both of you.
Cheers, Jake.
Cheers,
No worries,
buddy.
mate. No
James
worries.
is on his 5th bottle of scotch right now.
Yeah.
I'm not my 5th bottle. I'm not that much of an alcoholic. Come now.
We've spoken enough about transfers. Now it's obviously with the season on the horizon. Like I say, you can smell Chick King and the pie and mash shop from here. We're going to do predictions, and I know Vass is going to hate me for this because he don't want to jinx us. But
Yeah.
Firstly, I want you guys to predict the bottom 3. Who do you think is going to go down this season? Gibbo, you go first.
I think Forest beat Fulham. Well, I'm
think
trying.
Forest will go down.
It'll be tough. It will be tough for them. It was tough for Fulham, and so you look at like Forest, Fulham, and Bournemouth. It'll be tough for those. Newcastle were sort of around those areas until they Burnley have finally gone, haven't they? They're always hanging around there as well.
Thank God.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think Everton will be any great shakes. So I think the 3 that come up, it will be tough for them because I think like you look at the teams who were down there, Newcastle, who you thought were down there at the start of it, Newcastle, they won't be hanging around there anymore. Everton, but they've made a couple of signings. They've got some decent players there. They'll probably just have a little bit more than those teams that come up. who else struggled last year towards the end? I'm trying to think. I can't really. Who? Sorry, Leeds. Yeah, but I think they've probably got a little bit more than the 3 that come up. So maybe the 3 that come up and Leeds, it'd be 3 from them. So, but I'll go for the 3 that came up. Easy.
That's harsh, isn't it? I mean, 3 teams always that come up with favourites to go down. Sorry, mate. Carry on.
No, that's it. I'm trying. I'm racking my brains, and I can't really make a case for anybody else, really. So, I'll go for the 3 that come up.
James, what do you think?
Leeds, Bournemouth, Fulham. I think Marsh is a worse manager than Bielsa in basically every way. When you look at expected goals and expected goals conceded, they've gone worse in both categories than they were under Bielsa. I think Leeds will get relegated. They've lost Calvin Phillips and Rafinha. They can replace them in any meaningful way. Look, Fulham, they go up and they go down. That's just what Fulham do, I guess. I don't know. I guess they like trampolines or something. Yeah, I don't think Bournemouth are good enough. Do you know why I think Forest will stay up? They do have some quality players who have kind of started to shine through. Brennan Johnson, for example. I think they will stay up. I think Forest will stay up by the skin of their teeth. It may just be biased because I managed them in Football Manager a while ago.
They've got a good coach, haven't they?
They've got some good young players as well. I think they will be fine. I think Fulham and Bournemouth will struggle. I think fundamentally it's about pragmatism. When you come up from the Premier League to the Championship, you've got to have a degree of, look, we did really well playing this style in the Championship, but we're going to struggle a little bit more in the Premier League. Fulham have not been seen to adapt to that. And Bournemouth, they're managed by Scott Parker. He got Fulham relegated to some capacity or another, right? He was the guy who didn't adapt with Fulham. I can't see Bournemouth staying up. I can't see Leeds staying up. I think they're way, way worse. They've got a worse squad. They've got a way worse manager than they did last year, and only stayed up by the skin of their teeth. They're going to go down. I think Fulham will go down. It will be tighter than it was last time they went down. And I think Forest will stay up a few points clear, but it could be Forest or Fulham, to be honest with you. But I think Forest will stay up. Just proxy to the fact they have a few more young talents and that they will be more pragmatic than the other teams. But I will pass it over to the next panel member.
Bass.
I've changed my opinion about 4 times while James was talking just then because I'm seeing all the comments and everyone what they're saying about who's going down and whatever. I suspect Bournemouth, Leeds and Forest. Yeah, they'll be my 3. Everton and Southampton will be in the mix as well, I think, somehow. But yeah, and maybe Brentford too. But those are the 3 I'll pick.
I've just been lazy with mine, really, and I'm picking the 3
yeah.
come up. That's just a lazy take, isn't it? But
I've
said it now.
Slander, I can't.
I've said it now.
Forest have done some good business this window.
Yeah.
Decent players. They've got a good manager. I think they'll be all right. I think Southampton could be in real trouble. I think Everton are in big trouble. They've not replaced Richarlison. They've not made any signings. They've lost Connie van der Beek in midfield now. I think they're in big trouble. They've got no money for signings. They're not doing anything. They literally got beaten 4-0 by an MLS team.
I like Forest. I hope Forest stay up. For me, probably the same for you. Well, you'll say the same as well. Forest were like a top division side. They were not saying they were a massive club, but they were they were always in the top league when I was younger. I've always wanted them to come back up when they went back down. They're finally back now. I hope they do stay up.
The City ground is 30 miles from my house.
Great
my
club.
windows will get smashed in if I say Forest are going down. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's Forest around here.
I'll tell you what, I'll change because I do want Forest to stay up. I'll change Forest for Leeds because I'm not that keen on them. So I'll go Bournemouth, Fulham, and Leeds.
No, I think it'll be. I think Fulham. I think Brentford maybe, and Everton. I think
interesting. So all the 3 promoted clubs will stay up.
No, she said Fulham, didn't you, Shan?
Fulham.
Oh, she
Fulham,
said
so,
Fulham.
yeah.
I saw
Sorry.
Two will
comments
stay
about
up, though.
Fulham being the best side in the Championship last season, but so were Norwich. And then the failure to adapt and...
I've seen Fulham were the best team in the Championship the one year they came up and they went straight back down, didn't they? They're just...
Yeah.
Look.
But-
Let me give you a tale, a short
Go on.
tale. I
That
was
would be
managing
short.
Nottingham. It will be short, Matt, for once, because it's concise, and the longer you talk, the longer it goes on for. But I was managing Nottingham Forest. And I was playing like a 4-3-3 in Football Manager, very attacking football. I go up first season. I refuse to change style because I'm an idealistic knob, basically. I stayed up by the skin of my teeth. Maybe if I'd adapted, I'd have stayed up. I don't believe Bournemouth or Fulham will adapt, which is why I think they'll go down. Virtually never do all three promoted teams go down, and virtually never do none of the three promoted teams go down. That's why I believe both Fulham and Bournemouth will go down. Maybe one of them will stay up, but I think that's unlikely. I think Forest will stay up purely because of pragmatism and because they'll identify weaknesses and how to improve them. And because Brennan Johnson, of course, is an absolute world beater. I mean, who's Ronaldo? Fuck him. Like, Brennan Johnson, he's the real Ronaldo. You know,
Brennan Johnson's
he's
brilliant.
Welsh. Yeah, I mean, he's Welsh as well, which basically means that he's, like, Messi. Continue, panel.
Who's next? What's next one then, Shan? What we going for next?
My callers here.
Welcome, caller.
Oh,
Oh,
caller, why are you here?
All right,
welcome.
What are you
because
saying
see you.
about him?
because I'm here listening to all of this, and I'm thinking, Everton, they're my absolute nailed
I
on
said Everton.
certainties to
I
go
said
down.
Everton.
Frank Lampard's the manager, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be for long though, mate.
He's dreadful.
They
he's
even got
dreadful.
battered by an MLS team. Like,
They've lost their best player. We've taken their best player.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought I got to call in and say
I
that
think
this is a disaster. Otherwise, I wouldn't be true to my name, the caller, would I? You know what I mean?
Can I just say something? I think it's hard to judge before the transfer window's closed, right? You know, because they could bring in someone to replace him.
Yeah, but they're a bit brassic, aren't they, James?
they've
That's
literally
the
got
thing.
no money.
They've signed a Portuguese guy today, haven't they? And
Vinrage.
Dwight McNeil.
Vinrage, yeah, he's a left.
Yeah.
back.
Dwight-
Vinrage
I
is
don't
a
think
left back.
Dwight
Dwight
McNeil's a
McNeil's gonna
decent
save
player.
Dwight
He's not a bad player, Dwight McNeil.
I don't think
For
it's
them.
enough to save them, Matt, to be honest.
No.
I think Caller's right. I think Everton are in big trouble.
Everton
are in
So
big
as
trouble.
Shan said as well.
I don't think Lampard will be there. I don't think he will be there for that long. And then we'll
And
see who goes
even
in.
if he isn't, I think the damage is going to be too much for anyone to sort out. I don't think Everton have got the money to fix things at the moment, and that's going to be a massive problem.
They've got a big stadium being built. They need, they need to avoid relegation if possible, because that's a massive financial hit.
I'm not saying, like I see it in the. I'm not saying Dwight McNeil's going to save them or he's brilliant, but I don't think he's a bad player. And might not be enough, but I think he's a decent player for them.
Maybe.
And you've got to think Brentford only stayed up because of Christian Eriksen, and now he's gone.
I don't know though, because like they started off the season okay, and very much that first season was always going to be difficult for any promoted side, and I think that the players will have learned from that. I don't think they'll do tremendously, but I don't think they'll get relegated purely because they'll have the experience and they'll have learned from those experiences, particularly their manager. I don't think they'll go down. I still stand by my predictions, but I think they'll be 15th, 14th. They'll be in and around there. And obviously any of those teams below 13th could go down. It's kind of tricky to say until the transfer window is closed because you don't know what signings they're going to make or what's going to happen, right?
Calvert-Lewin ain't no great shakes, I don't think. But if they have him fit for a season as well, he'll make a little bit of a difference to them. But
Depends what service they get to him, doesn't it? At the end of the day, I think actually Calvert-Lewin's a decent player, but if he's not getting any balls to work with, then difficult. Anyway, I love the show. I thought I'd just pop in and say my piece. As you can see, I'm outside. It's actually pissing down with rain.
You're all right.
Just to tell us about Everton.
You were right.
Tell you
Albert,
about Everton.
Paula.
You felt that strongly about Everton going down that you had to
I'm
die.
all right. I
Well-
thought it's a nice night. It's covered out here, obviously. I thought I'm going to come out. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to have a whiskey and watch the show. And then I just thought, you know what? I might just die there.
Cooler, what are you
The
drinking?
pitter patter of raindrops.
You
got
can
that
join us,
luxury.
I was on my way to the man cave to get one.
you can join us to predict the top 6 if you want, in order.
I'll be back in a minute. Let me get a whiskey though. Yeah.
We're going to start
Okay,
with
we can drink together.
You
We can drink
and
together.
I'll think about it while I'm drinking. Yeah.
Oh,
All right,
Yeah.
James. What are you, James? What are you drinking?
Johnny
much by the
Walker's.
sounds of what you've been
Johnny
talking about,
Walker's
wings.
Red Label. Johnny Walker's. My favourite
Good.
drink.
All right. Good.
See you in a minute.
I mean, he's just
Me
coming
and
and
Paula.
completely disrupted my show, but we move on. We carry on. Gibbo, your top 6 in order from 6th to 1st. We're going to do it back.
Right. 6, I will go Arsenal. 5th, I'll go Man United. Now, people are going to be upset now. I'm not going to do it because this is obviously a Spurs podcast. Chelsea 4th, Spurs 3rd, Liverpool 2nd, Man City 1st. I'm seriously considering saying Spurs 4th, but I'm going to go 3rd because I'm trying to be positive.
Chelsea is screwed.
Well, we'll see, won't we, after the second game? Because, keep saying about they're screwed and all this and that, and then we'll probably turn up at Stamford Bridge and have our pants pulled down like we usually do, and not turn up. So I'll wait till we've played Chelsea.
We can turn up against Chelsea under 18s and still get turned over just because it's at Stamford Bridge and it's Chelsea. I don't think their form means anything. I think it's more about Tottenham having that soft underbelly when it comes to Chelsea, and I think it will say more about us if we go there and get a win than it does about them.
Yeah, well, we can't afford to keep going. We can't afford to keep going to Chelsea for all these years and literally being bent over. It can't happen. But I know Chelsea are going through whatever they're going through, but they've got a strong mentality as a club, haven't they?
Yeah.
Really, I mean, I fucking hate them, but they do have that. But I'm gonna
regime, maybe.
Well, I know they've lost a lot of their back line. They've still got a decent team, but I am gonna, because I'm trying to be positive, more positive than I have for a long time. I am gonna say Spurs 3rd, and I think we will be closer in points to Liverpool and Man City. But as it stands, I think we are just short in 1, maybe 2 areas to really compete with them.
Okay. I'm going to come to Vass next because I know you've got a shoot soon, Vass. So if you could give me your top 6.
Top 6. West Ham 6th, Chelsea 5th, Man United 4th, Liverpool 3rd, Man City 2nd, Tottenham Hotspur top of the league.
Like it. I like it.
Arsenal nowhere.
I like the optimism.
Yeah, well, I don't know how long it'll last, but there you go.
If you
Like
can't have
it.
it at the beginning of the season, when can you have it, Caller?
Do you?
Well, exactly.
Cooler, what are you drinking?
What we're drinking?
Yeah.
I rotate your red label and erase into a black label.
Actually, on my shelf, I do have a bottle of Black Label. So, I'm just economizing tonight, but I do have a bottle of Black Label. So, obviously, we are both men of good taste. We are both men of good
Absolutely.
taste. Well, the Co-op doesn't sell Black Label, and it's right across my road. I could have walked to Tesco, but that's like a 40-minute walk. And
Other supermarkets are available.
Of course, but if it's like 2 minutes across my road, I'm going to be lazy and buy Red Label for 15 quid as opposed to like 20 quid at Tesco. But Cooler, what are your predictions?
Caller, 6th to 1st in the league.
I'm just working it out because there's a few variables here. All right, hang on.
Do you want me
Bear
to
with
go?
me 1 second.
Do
Yeah,
you want me
go.
to go?
Yeah, James.
Okay,
you go.
I'm going to go from first to sixth just because I'm going to be different and annoying. So first, City, Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, United.
Right, I've done one.
Go on then.
So I'm going to start from 7th.
Okay.
So we're doing the top 7.
Newcastle, United, Chelsea, 4th, Goons. Sorry, I think there will be. I know it hurts me to say it. I just do think they've got the makings of a good side.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, I just think I'm trying to set myself up. This is worst case scenario. Spurs 3rd, Liverpool 2nd, City 1st.
Okay. I guess it's me
I think
next.
Newcastle could disrupt that top 6 this season.
I like
Yeah.
Vass's best so far. You got some going to beat Vass's, Shan.
I'm going Newcastle 6th, Chelsea
Yeah.
5th,
Yeah.
Manchester United 4th, Liverpool 3rd, Spurs 2nd, City 1st.
Ooh, almost.
Good. Close but no cigar,
I
Shan.
think we'll be
Vass's
in the
predictions are the best.
We'll be in the mix.
Well,
I don't think
This
we've
will
got
come
enough.
back and either bite me in the arse, or you can play it back in the end of the
Yeah.
next season and say, "Look, we had this guy on, and he got it spot on."
Yeah.
I mean, I want to think that we can challenge City for the title, but they keep strengthening.
They do.
I think Liverpool are maybe weaker than they were last season. It depends on how Diaz and Darwin Núñez get on. But
Núñez, yeah.
I
I think Diaz.
Mane going is a big blow for them.
Diaz is a player, isn't he? But is he going to get the goal return that Mane used to?
Exactly.
I think Diaz is quality.
Mane is a big player for them to lose.
He gets goals. Mane does, and that'll be a big loss for him.
So I'm thinking we could catch Liverpool, but maybe not quite City.
I agree with you, Shan, actually. I think there's a lot of sense in that because I think Liverpool are going to have quite a disrupted season. I think Chelsea are going to have a disrupted season. Liverpool are going to have a disrupted season. Man United will have a transformative season. So there's going to be a lot of mix-up up there. There is going to be a lot of mix-up. The one constant, unfortunately, is City are the best team in the country and they've just bought potentially one of the best strikers in the world. Not potentially, he is one of the best strikers in the world. So I think City are an absolute shoo-in for the title. That said, we did them twice last, didn't we? We should have beat Liverpool away. So it's for us. It's always going to be about beating the smaller teams.
I think
smaller
teams.
Yeah. Oh, we've got to get more against Chelsea, haven't we?
Chelsea are the ones that keep doing us, and we need to get over that hump. Really.
Yeah, we can't keep doing that. We've got I know somebody said it the other day. It's like all those years where they've beaten us, and they've got that sort of like they've got that hold over us. Well, if you're going to win titles and push on the league, you can't afford to have that. No. You got to be strong. You got to be mentally strong. You got to go there, take it to them, and not just like shit the bed when we play them, home or away.
I genuinely believe Arsenal will be nowhere near the top 6, maybe 7th conference where they belong.
I don't know because I think they're better now than they were. Woolwich are definitely better now than they were last season. I
also think United are better than they were.
I don't think they are. I don't actually think they are. I think it's going to take a long time.
They're going to be coached better than they were, and they've already got a decent squad. And Chelsea, for all their faults, I think, even though Arsenal beat them 4-0 in pre-season, that means nothing. I still think Chelsea are better than Arsenal.
Allow me to...
definitely.
Look, sorry. I'm going to have to disagree with you, Shan. Just because they've brought in Ten Hag doesn't necessarily mean that United are that much better. Have you seen the videos of pre-season of them struggling to do the Ajax training videos? I don't think they're necessarily that better. I think they'll get a few more points than they did last season, but it's possible Ronaldo goes, and he got a lot of their points from last season. I don't doubt in a year or two they'll definitely be a lot better under Ten Hag, but I don't think this season they're going to be that much better. Secondly, I think Woolwich will be a lot better because of the additions they've made, and because I don't think Arteta's that terrible a manager. I think they will be a bit better this season. I still don't think they're going to catch us or Chelsea because we're better and Chelsea were so far ahead of them. Thirdly, I think Chelsea have actually weakened in this window in some ways. Although I do think Sterling can certainly play an important part for them because Lukaku did basically nothing and Sterling's a decent player. The only thing I will say about City is they are going to struggle in some parts this season. I think they're struggling for talent out wide. I don't rate I don't rate Riyad Mahrez. I don't rate him against top six sides. I think he's a very average player, actually. And I think, I'm sorry, he's never scored against Spurs. And I said it every time we play them. I don't rate him.
James.
He has, hasn't he?
James, what are you talking about?
He scored for City against, I think he scored for City and Leicester against us.
I can't recall him scoring against
Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's definitely scored against us.
Yeah.
Has he?
For Leicester.
I don't recall that.
Yeah.
Look, for
I
Leicester,
think he has
perhaps,
for City.
not for City. Look.
Yeah.
At City at Wembley, didn't he score against us when they beat us?
When has he had an impact? When has he had a sincere impact in a game that really, really mattered? Seriously, like it's an open-ended question. I don't think he's a top 4 player.
I think he's a decent player, mate.
But
yeah,
look,
that's fair enough.
Look, they haven't got Sterling, who, as much as I might malign him, he is a top couple tier player. They might have Haaland, and I do think he's good, but he has injury issues, right? If he gets a big injury, City could struggle. I don't know, because at the same time, De Bruyne could get a big injury, and I do very much think.
Yeah, but you could make that argument.
That's the same for anyone.
Oh yeah, but ultimately, football is random to some capacity or another. My point is, I think us, Liverpool or City could very much be in that battle. I think that is somewhat interchangeable. I don't think we're going to win the league. Sorry, guys, but I
just want us to be in the mix.
Pushing.
I think second. I think second is achievable if everything goes our way. I think second is achievable.
Depends who we sign between now and the end of the window to a certain degree, Shan. And the second thing, it's very dependent on the World Cup. I think the World Cup will really shake the league up to a certain extent this year because you'll have players that are really fatigued, lots more injuries than normal. Big squads are going to win out. Unfortunately, City have got the biggest squad out of anyone. But look, we're going to be in with a shout. I put Arsenal in the top 4 because I don't think, sadly, Arteta is as dumb as he makes out.
He's just a fucking idiot.
And I don't think they've got a half bad team, to be honest. And I think the additions they've made make sense. A bit like our additions make perfect sense. But I think we'll be well clear of them.
I'm sticking with Vass. Vass says we're going to win it. So,
but
yeah, we'll see.
But I think we'll be well clear of Arsenal. That's all that was known.
Okay, I think we'll wrap it up there because it's getting a bit. I mean, just because Caller's here, I feel like everyone's seen enough. So
nice, isn't it? That's nice.
I mean,
really pleasant. Thanks, Shan.
As always, you're welcome. Vass, thank you so much for joining us for your Cheese Room debut. It's been a pleasure to have you on and hear your thoughts.
Cheers.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to join you. Thanks very much for having me on. And if I can just shout a plug to our own podcast at Dr. Tottenham, you're all welcome to tune in and give us a listen and a watch and a follow on social media. But yeah, it's been great tonight. Thanks a lot, Shane.
You're more than welcome. Caller, for your cameo. Thanks.
Like, I've had more minutes than Richarlison will have in the first few games this season.
We'll
see. Cheers. Thanks.
Cheers, imagine Richarlison coming in with a glass of
and that is why you're in the bottom right corner where you belong. Give up.
Hang on.
Not on the Wednesday Club, you don't.
No, not the Wednesday Club. I'm just rudely strolling in.
Look, Cooler, love you. Cheers, mate.
I mean, okay, fellow Wednesday Clubbers, Gibbo, as always, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. Been a pleasure. Love talking about Spurs, so happy to be on whenever I'm asked. Nice to meet you, Vass. Thanks for coming on.
Pleasure, mate. Lovely to meet you all.
Listening to you at the weekend.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, we'll be back on Sunday.
Brilliant stuff. And James, who has just poured himself yet another drink.
Well, do you know what? I'm not working tomorrow, and I haven't passed out yet. So that's got to keep drinking, I suppose. Thanks for having me on. Lovely to be with you, Matt, as ever, and Vass. Your contributions have been certainly appreciated. Shan, great job hosting, and Cooler, lovely to see you. Do enjoy your inputs and your disagreements with me. It's no fun if no one disagrees with me. And everyone in the comments, it's lovely to hear some of you agreeing with me and some of you calling me an idiot. That's great fun as ever. Thanks everyone for watching. Lovely to be here. I hope I wasn't too annoying with my borderline drunken ramblings. So lovely to be on. Thanks for me. Thank you for having me, and hopefully I'll see you all next week.
Cool. I was waiting for that. It was like a monologue. It's like something from Shakespeare or something.
I am
You're watching too much Saturday Night Live monologue, I reckon.
Turning into Gary Neville or something.
Thank you so much for contributing to the Cheese Room. As always, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, follow us on socials. Gibbo's doing a great job of getting all that content out from there. Patreon as well, £3 a month. You can join channel memberships, which are in the description, and also our sponsors Kit Bag. Make sure you check them out. Caller can drop you a link because I don't know what it is.
It's on our Facebook page. Check out the Facebook page.
And until Friday, when Caller isn't there. Caller, you're not there, are you? Friday, is it Brendan?
No, sadly not. So
we're subbing in Brendan for Friday and the team.
Yeah.
Back to talk and review the Roma game. And until then, come on, you Spurs.
Come on,
you
Spurs.
Spurs.